Anybody watching, go look at any money book. Look at chapter 1. You know what they tell you to do in chapter 1 of any book?
It takes hard work. Years of hard work. The idea of working hard is silly. It's silly.
You need to stop thinking like this if you ever want to get ahead financially, if you ever want to be successful, if you want to be rich.
Want to be happy? Build a life, not just a business.
Living that believing life. Out here living that believing life. Every day we living that believing life. Hustle like we living that believing life. Living life, yeah, so we grinding it out. Every single day we be grinding it out. Hustle like we living that believing life, oh. That believing life, oh.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you too. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something. So today, let's live your best belief life and learn how money really works and why you won't get rich just by working hard. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Define what you want with Ramit Sethi.
We grow up with these things I call invisible scripts. And these are the scripts that are beliefs that are so powerful, we don't even realize that they're around us. That's why they're invisible. So a classic one in America is the American dream is buying a house. Where did that come from? And in fact, there's all these phrases that people use like, you're throwing money away on rent. They don't make more land, you know, and on and on and on. If you really deconstruct that and you actually run the numbers, you might discover that actually buying a house is often not the best investment. And this is super counterintuitive. People get really mad because real estate is religion in America. But if you actually dive in deep, you might discover, wow, there's a lot of parties who want me to spend a ton of money. That's why, for example, I could buy today, but I rent. And when people hear that, they're like, wait, I thought the I will teach you to be rich guy's rich, so why is he renting? They get very confused because real estate is religion. You know, another thing that is really common today for people is there's no way to get ahead, right? Especially for young people. Social Security won't be around, et cetera, et cetera. And I just don't believe in that. I think if you go onto Reddit or you go onto these places where it's a lot of people who are disaffected young people, they create an echo chamber of other people who want to victimize themselves, then you have a choice. Do you want to be reading those threads? Or, like I was reading the comments on your YouTube videos. I was like, these are the best YouTube comments I've ever seen. People are positive, constructive. They're pointing out things they saw in the 32nd minute of the video, meaning they actually watched the whole thing. Those are the kind of people that I want people to be around. So it's not impossible to make money. There's actually a lot of people making money. It's not impossible to get ahead, pay off debt, even invest and grow. There's a lot of people doing it. But if you're surrounded by people who constantly complain about how difficult it is and it's impossible, guess what? You're gonna absorb those invisible scripts. I had a woman who wrote me and she said, Ramit, can you help me convince my husband not to waste money? And I go, okay, what's going on? She goes, he spends so much money on iced tea. And I was like, here we go. I go, how much money? And she goes, he buys iced tea 20 times a month, like almost every day. I said, how much is this iced tea? And she said, it's $1.50 each time. So in my head, I'm like, this is insane. Like, why are we even talking about this? Right. But I knew there's something here, so I want to unpack it. I said, out of curiosity, what's your household income? No response for 20 minutes, okay? And then finally she comes back, she goes, I'm not comfortable sharing that. I said, just give me a range. Okay, what do you think her and her husband's household income is?
I know the story. I would have guessed otherwise. 80,000, 100,000.
Like a nice 600,000. And this is a perfect example. Like rationally and logically, we should literally not be talking about this because it's a rounding error. But there's something going on in her belief system that made her fixate on iced tea. And so for anybody, whether it's iced tea or whether it's, you know, lattes is a classic example. Everybody tells you not to spend money. I'm like, that's the worst advice ever. Buy as many lattes as you want. Or some people, they just love, for example, clothes, right? I like clothes. They love it, but everybody around them has told them things like, that's shallow, that's a waste of money, you should invest in your Roth IRA. And so what do? All of us, we're torn apart because we live in a paradoxical society that is both puritanical, telling us we should retreat into a cave and do nothing, But then we go on Instagram and everyone's in Bora Bora wearing, it's ridiculous. And so what do? We just buy everything and then we feel guilty. It's the worst possible response. So what I do is first I say, what do you love spending money on? Love. And nobody talks about this. They always say, oh, let me see your budget, you're overspending, and everyone's just like, forget this. Right? I'll never come on here and berate someone for their spending because I've seen it all. When they talk about what they love, then I say, what would it feel like to be able to spend 2 times or 4 times as much on that? And people have never thought like that. Then, once we start from a place of aspiration, of what do we want, let's work through the mechanics of how to get there.
Really fast define a rich life for people, because I think that's going to be a key component to this whole discussion.
Well, it's different for everyone. My rich life early on was to be able to go to a restaurant and order appetizers. Because I never did it when I was a kid.
Get it.
Like, ever. We would go and we'd eat out once every 4 to 6 weeks if we had a coupon. And we would like share 2 Cokes with the whole family. And we would never order appetizers. So I was like, I'm gonna do it. And then the next dream for me was to be able to hop in a taxi if I lived in New York during the summer without having to take the train and sweat before a meeting. Now my dreams got bigger. And there's a variety of things that are my rich life, but everybody's is different. So some people, I have people in my book, they're like, I used your book, my wife and I retired at 35 and 36, we drive around in an RV. I don't want to drive around in an RV. But he and his wife do, and I love that. So a rich life is what you define. And when I ask people what's a rich life to you, they usually say 2 things. Freedom, which is a very nice word, but it's kind of generic. And they say a number, usually $1 million. And I say, like, freedom, what is that to you? And they're like, I want to do whatever I want when I want. And I'm like, get specific. Do you want to order appetizers? Do you want to do yoga at 3 p.m.? And that's where the conversation stops. So if you're watching, I want everyone to think, what is your rich life? And take it from the clouds to the street. I want to buy 3 different Lululemon tank tops a month because I don't ever want to have to wear an old one. Whatever, go as crazy as you want. I want to travel for a month and I want to bring my family with me. Great. A rich life is different for everyone, but is about your definition. Most of what you see with money is just this mathematical, logical stuff, and it sounds good and everyone's like, oh yeah, compound interest, but then they go back to their day-to-day life, which is like, I want that sweater, I know I should be doing this, how come I'm not doing that? I feel bad, close the book, forget it. And I want to take a really different approach. A perfect example is if you look at any money book, anybody watching, go look at any money book, look at chapter 1. You know what they tell you to do in chapter 1 of any book? Fine, let's find out how much you spent last month. And people are like, no thanks, see you later. They don't know how much they spent, but they know it was bad.
Right.
And so if you actually understand human psychology, you know that my goal is not to make you feel bad. My goal is actually to show you how money can be positive, how you can live a rich life, whatever you want. So in chapter 1 of my book, I said, look, we all use credit cards, we all suck at using credit cards, and we all hate credit cards. Let me show you how to beat them. Read these words off the page, this battle-tested script, and you'll get your fees refunded and you'll get all these perks you don't even know about. People they're like, I don't know, this Indian guy's kind of weird, I'll try it. They pick up the phone, even millennials who are afraid of using the phone, they picked up the phone, they did it, and they're like, oh shit.
You're talking they call the bank.
They called the bank.
This stuff
yes. And like that, they get a $35 fee refunded, or they get some perk they never even knew existed, and suddenly, psychologically, they go, oh my God, I can take control of my money. It's not all these huge concepts of retirement and inheritance and all this stuff. No, I called, I got money back, now I can do it. So it's so important to be really incorporating your own psychology when you think about money. And part of that is, what do I want? Where did I get these beliefs from? Whether it's a movie or a family friend, and then what can I do today to start moving along and developing my rich life?
Also, if you want to have more motivation, confidence, and self-love, check out my 254 series. They're free. The links to join are in the description below.
All things are possible if you believe. I was reminded this morning of a question I'm often asked. How do you eliminate fear from your life?
That's a problem with young people. You're not good at anything. Oh, I'm so good. No, tell me the truth. You're not good at anything.
Rule number 2, hard work is not the answer, with Bob Proctor.
Have you ever asked yourself why we think we have to work hard if we're going to win? It takes hard work, years of hard work. It's not good information. In fact, it's a lie. Stop and think of some of the people you know that have been working real hard for a long time and they're not winning at all. They're broke. They're renting a place to live. They don't own their own home. They're probably driving a used car. Down south, they say that dog won't hunt. The idea of working hard is silly. It's silly. Listen, I want you to think of what this book is. This is Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. He writes in here, there are 30 major causes of failure. There's 13 principles of success. Now listen to this. He said, if you are one of those people who believe that hard work and honesty alone will bring riches, perish the thought, because it is not true. Riches, when they come in huge quantities, are never the result of hard work. You see, look at. See this stuff here? You know? Look at. That's paper. We call it money. Money is an idea. Money goes where it's invited and it stays where it's welcome. The idea that you have to work hard for this stuff is not true. Some of the people that work the hardest are the ones that are in the least. Now think about it. I was reading where Taylor Swift, young gal singer, was the highest paid entertainer last year. She's doing what she absolutely loves. That's not hard work. I get very well paid. I'm doing what I absolutely love. The idea that you have to work hard is silly. When you love what you're doing, you'll never work again. See, I see work as something that you're doing that you don't enjoy and you don't want to do. And takes a lot of energy. Think, this man that wrote this book, spent his entire life studying 500 of the world's most successful people. He became intimate friends with people like Henry Ford and Thomas Edison, Harvey Firestone. Became intimate friends with them. They were doing what they absolutely loved. They changed the whole world. Ford put us on wheels. Edison illuminated the place. They were doing what they love, and they earned millions. What do you love doing? Quit working and start doing what you love, and you'll never work again. Now you think about that for a while.
And rule number 3, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is work on the roots with Dan Locke.
Have you ever wondered why you work very hard yet you don't get ahead financially? I remember when I was 18, 19 years old that I was hustling and trying to do side jobs and try to make a living, try to support my mom, but I could never get ahead financially. I was desperate for money. I wanted to make more money to be able to provide for my family, but I could never get ahead. And I realized that there is something in my belief system back then that was holding me back. So you need to stop thinking like this if you ever want to get ahead financially, if you ever want to be successful, if you want to be rich. You see, money is a very interesting thing. Money doesn't go to the people who are desperate for it. That it's not enough to say, I want to make more money, that, oh, I want to increase my income, that I want to pay off that debt. That's not enough, right? If you want to make more money, money earned is a byproduct of value creation. So at the time I wanted to make more money, but I couldn't make more money because I wasn't upgrading my skill sets. If you want to make $1 million, solve $1 million problem, right? If you want to make $100 million, solve $100 million problems, right? So don't chase money, chase problems. What are some of the problems that in the marketplace that you could solve, maybe only you could solve, that you could bring to the marketplace? Your unique skills, your expertise, and your talents, you bring it out there, right? You solve people's problems. Or you see a need in the marketplace that's not being fulfilled. Your product, your service, your brand that could fulfill that need better than anybody else, you could also make more money. It's not enough just to sit around and hope that things would change. The hope that you'll make more money, that hope things will turn around. You need to be proactive about it. I want you to think about money as a money tree. And most people want to have more fruit. They want to have better fruit. And they look at that tree, look at the money tree and say, I'm not making enough money. It's no different than they look at the fruit and say, I don't like how it tastes. It's bitter, it's small, it's dry, it doesn't taste good, it's not sweet, right? And they complain and they act like a victim and they don't like the fruit. But if you don't like the fruit, looking at the fruit and complaining about it, that's not gonna solve the problem. What do you need to do? Comment below. You need to look at the roots. What is causing this? Money is a result. It's not a cause. It's an effect. What's the cause and effect relationship? What do you need to do to create and produce better fruit? You need to nurture the tree, right? You need to plant the seed. If you have not even planted the seed, how can you expect to have a fruitful tree, right? That produce fruit that you want. You can't. What is that seed? Taking that action, taking that first initial step, upgrading your skill, learning how to deliver more value. Now you may be saying, well, Dan, how do I do that? How do I deliver more value to people? I'm just doing what I'm doing. I'm going to school. I just have a dead-end job. That's the problem. You're looking at the fruit, you're looking at the root, you're looking at the fruit, you don't like the fruit, first you gotta change the roots, right? You look at most like big tall trees, what do they have? They have a very good strong foundation. They have a very strong root system. That's your foundation piece. That's something that you could change. That's something that you could work on yourself and get better. So don't complain and say, hey, how come I could not be rich? How come other people are rich and I am not? How come they are successful and I'm not? Look at the roots. Work on the roots. If you work on that long enough and you give yourself a little bit of time, eventually you will have fruit that you want.
Now I have a special bonus clip from Donald Trump on how to go against the tide that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Let's go from just watching a video to taking action. Here we go. Question number 1. What are the roots that you need to work on? Number 2, how would you define what you want? And number 3, where do you need to work smarter instead of harder? And if you made it this far in the video, I wanna celebrate you. Give me a hashtag believe down in the comments.
Going against the tide is great if it works. Now, it doesn't always work, and you really have to be smart to go against the tide because you're going against a lot of smart people. But when you get it right, you'll end up better, whether it's Microsoft or Google. I mean, so many people that have really hit big have gone against the tide. But you have to have great confidence in yourself. You have to be the right person. There are very few people that can pull it off, but when you pull it off, it's great. Same thing in real estate. You go against the tide. People are selling, you're buying, the tide changes.
If you want to know why your comfort zone is destroying your life, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.